because your waist is small and your curves are kicking, and I'm thinking about sticking. You join me inside the 2021 Porsche 718 Cayman GTS 4.0. And GTS in Porsche's portfolio is typically represented by the Enthusiast Special. So in addition to this car's black exterior accents and racier cabin and sports exhaust system, it doesn't make use of the turbo 4-cylinder that you find in the base Cayman and Cayman S. No, it uses Porsche's naturally aspirated flat 6, much like the Cayman GT4. But unlike the GT4 with its ultra stiff suspension, Porsche appears to have thought about ride quality with this car when they gave it adaptive dampers. So on paper then, this car looks to be the ideal purist daily driver. But how is it in practice? That's what we're going to find out today on MilesPerHr. And there it is, the 21 Porsche 718 Cayman GTS 4.0. This one is in Guards Red. It's a non-metallic classic fire engine red that somehow manages to pop even on a cloudy day like today and goes perfectly with all of the GTS's black exterior accents. Red on a sports car. Sign me up. And I love that it looks so German in that it appears to have been measured 1,000 times before finally being cut for production, and yet that robs zero of its aesthetic beauty. The proportions are just right. That classic, awful cliche, fast standing still, it kind of just works here. It applies. Going back to the front there, we can start to go through some of the GTS's specific touches, like these black headlight housings with bi-xenons, not LEDs as standard, you can't option them on. Then we've got LED daytime running lights, large air inlets sending cool air to those intercoolers. Got these black plastic garnishes here, a black plastic front splitter, large air dam, Porsche crest on the hood that looks just right with that red. Did I mention the color is free? Yeah, the Guards Red is a free paint color. Go for it. Look at the ground effects of this design. Visually lowering the car. Of course, the car is actually lower by 20 millimeters than the standard 718. Coming over here to the wheels, 20-inch black painted alloy wheels. Love that classic 10-spoke design. I'm saying classic a lot, but this car just is. It's classic. 10-spoke design. These are wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires, 235 section in the front, 265 section in the rear. Those red painted brake calipers are standard, 6 piston in the front and 4 piston in the rear. They're clamping down on 13.8-inch drilled rotors up front and 13s in the rear. Here we see GTS 4.0 badging in black, body color matching door mirror upper piece and black lower arm, black window trim, a black air inlet on the side, channeling cool air to that 4-liter flat 6 engine, mid-mounted. Speaking of mid-mounted, the proportions. Look at this. The gentle slope of that roof line. So good. And it means that there's actually a significant amount of headroom in this car. Perfect for strapping on a helmet for track times. Getting to the rear, we see the width of the car coming into play. Narrow greenhouse right there, and then pressed out for the rear haunches. Love it. Black tail light housings to match the black headlight housings. Slender LED tail lights here with brake lights that come in top and below. The turn signals replace these LED daytime tail lights right there. Large blacked out diffuser, double layer, pulled straight from the Cayman GT4, as is the sports exhaust system. that just lets that 4-liter flat six sing. And unlike the regular Cayman where the exhaust pipes are right in the center, these are pressed out a bit. Integrated ducktail spoiler, looking clean. Porsche lettering across the back. 718 Cayman GTS badging in black below that. You can delete that from the factory if you don't want it there. The exterior is so very clean, inoffensive in all ways, and yet ravishing, especially in red. All right, let's look at that interior. No smart keyless entry on this one, so you got to use the key fob to unlock and get inside, where we find a nice mix of sporty and premium with tons of this microfiber suede that Porsche calls Race Tex. Find that on the seat inserts, on the wrapping for the steering wheel, on this grab handle here, on the door inserts, door armrest rather, center console, drive selector, and then on the headliner. There's also GTS embroidered on the leather seat backs, gray contrast stitching. You can choose either gray or red for your contrast stitching. I kind of feel like red with this red exterior would be a nice combo, but okay, gray, that's fine. And heated front seats as part of the GTS package. All of this is standard GTS stuff, and that means this car only has 2 options: integrated navigation and the Porsche dual clutch system. And I love when automakers give me cars without tons of options, because otherwise I really have to wade through those options to get to the heart of what the vehicle is offering. Here, it's like showing its cards, and that makes my job so much easier. So apart from those details I mentioned, there is going to be a lot of injection molding, like here and on the dashboard. And while that's not the most luxurious, it's all really well put together. There are not creaks and cracks in this cabin. It's just all so solidly built. We've got power window controls, power door mirror controls. The door handle even sounds super well built, over-engineered. Cayman GTS, tread plate right there. We can look at our trunks. We've got front trunk and rear trunk here. Those controls are here. Pop up that rear. Lift up that hatch. Opens nice and tall, so you're not going to whack your head on this. We've got an integrated cargo cover, so people don't see what's inside. JD will list the cubic feet of the rear and front. Got some tie-down points here, 4 of them back there. It's not a super wide opening. The car isn't crazy wide, so you're not going to fit a set of golf clubs across the back, but you could fit a good-sized duffel bag or a small suitcase. And this shelf up here, which is above that mid-mounted engine, which we're not going to be able to see, unfortunately, does give you more cargo options if you can just make peace with the fact that you won't see out of the rearview mirror. This metal piece right here is a good look and decorative. Take off these caps and you can find our coolant and oil. There are also some pretty well hidden cubbies. There's one to the right of the passenger seat and left of the driver's seat, and they're really deep. Not sure what you'd put back there, but if you don't know this vehicle, you might overlook them. So that's like kind of like an insider scoop. There's LED lights here, so you can see what's going on back here, left and right. That other cargo space. Closing the hatch, there's a handle here, but when you close it, you got to really got to give it the beans, seriously. Otherwise, it won't actually close down. And then you got to do it twice. Front trunk now. This one, like a normal front trunk, or like a normal hood rather, has a latch you got to pull. That lifts up nice and tall once again. See this really deep cavity in here. Stick my leg in there. See that? Goes all the way like kind of past the knee. Pretty impressive. So deep, in fact, that Porsche was worried that people were going to get trapped in here, so they put a release handle there. I think that's kind of like You have to do that via regulations. And then if you lift up this cover here, you can get access to the battery that's right there. Your windshield wiper fluid is exposed right there. Close that up. This one I'm not going to slam. I'm going to press down gently. And then let's hop inside. From here, to adjust your seat, you've got some manual controls. You got a slider down here, forward and backward. Manual lowering or raising of the seat. Oh, this whole thing, this whole side is leather. Just realized that. It's cool. And then a power control for the seat back. Interesting blend of manual and power, along with a manual adjustment for the steering wheel. Pop that down. Tons of telescope and tilt to get just the perfect driving position for you. It's essential in a sports car. Close up this door. Good solid sound of that. To start the car, I'm going to need the key because it doesn't have the optional keyless ignition. But I don't mind too much because I really like this key. I like the silhouette of a vehicle. It's like a clay mold right here. Unlock, lock, front trunk, rear trunk, the Porsche crest, and on the back, panic. Don't panic. Like all Porsche vehicles, the ignition is on the left-hand side. Fun bit of trivia for you. The reason for that is because when Porsche was racing in Le Mans, back when they had to do running starts, the drivers would run to their cars, start them up, and then go. So to save time, instead of having drivers both turn on the car with their right hand and put it in first gear, they split the task. So now they were starting the car with their left hand while putting it in first gear. So we're talking about like a second maybe, or fraction of a second. But that's Porsche in a nutshell. It's saving the fractions of a second, improving their cars in these little ways over time. Looking around, just so much natural visibility. If you don't have anything on that rear parcel shelf, and you can see fully out the back, the C-pillar is really skinny. The passenger headrest isn't in the way. The A-pillars are so small as well, so narrow, so you can just place the car perfectly on the road. The steering wheel is beautiful. Love this wrapping, the notches for your hands. It's the perfect size and thickness. It's not crazy over thick like some BMW M wheels. Yeah, I'm calling you out. These pieces are plastic, but they look cool with the screws in them. Leather cover for the airbag, recessed Porsche crest right there. Got your drive mode selector here with a knurled finish on it. So you got normal. Oh, the baffles and the exhaust open up in sport. Sport plus. Individual. And then you've got sport response. So this is like not a full committal to sport. It's just, I need passing power. You got sport response for 20 seconds. Then you can turn it off at any time. You can see this steering wheel paddles through these arms, and that's so awesome. They're not huge paddles, but they are. You hear that? Made of aluminum. And there's also not a ton of travel to the paddles, but they feel so solid. Such a good tactile feel. I love it. The turn signal stalk is up here, and it shows up right in the center of the tachometer. Then you've got just regular cruise control here, no adaptive cruise control or even lane keep assist or any of those active safety features. And the tachometer, like all Porsche vehicles, is right there in the center. See that 7,800 RPM red line. Digital speedo below that, along with an analog speedo off to the left. 200, that's ambitious. 180, more realistic. Then your trip meter, or sorry, your tachometer, nope. Odometer. There you go. Brain fart over. Odometer. This is the only gauge that is adjustable. So you use this controller here, which is super intuitive, by the way. Just up, down. That's to select, and this is to go back. So you've got your sport chrono here, and that's your lap timer up there. So if I go in, select it, reset, start it, now the lap timer's going. If I want to stop it, go up and stop it. It's so intuitive. So you can use this very quickly. Tire pressure, telemetry information, navigation, your map, phone, media, vehicle info, performance, G-force meter, all that through here, along with your fuel gauge up top, time, and outside temperature. It's all very smart. Light settings off here to the left. Mentioned all of the injection molding up on the dashboard. I don't mind too much because I'm not going to be just grabbing up here and touching it. The 4 air vents, even they have a little bit of style. I like these pieces in the back. Very cool. One thing that doesn't have a ton of style is the infotainment, because it's getting dated now. This 7-inch touchscreen, the best thing I can say about it is it's actually really responsive. So, like, you're not going to be sitting here waiting for the system to, like, load. It does its job fairly quickly. But the graphics are pretty dated now, and we want larger displays. It does have Apple CarPlay. It isn't wireless, it's wired. So you got to plug it in here, and then you do have CarPlay. And so that is the best thing I can say. Having CarPlay here and having it be quick to respond means that this is not actually insulting in any way. We know we're on the last generation of Porsche communication management system, whatever they call it. Down here, lots of buttons. So you got a volume knob here with nice rubberized border. And then this is the control for the infotainment if you didn't want to touch it. Plus, yes, all these buttons. And I realize we're cluttering it up here with buttons, but having buttons means that you know where things are and you can easily make changes. Fine, I'll accept that some of these can go with newer generations of infotainments from Porsche, but leave these controls for a quick adjustment of the traction control, of the suspension, of the spoiler, of the exhaust, of the start-stop system, and the unlock or lock. Leave that kind of stuff alone. I don't mind if it looks more cluttered for the sake of convenience. The drive selector feels really solid in your hand, notched down into reverse, wide view camera, but no like bird's eye view or anything like that. That is an option, not on this one. Pull it all the way down and over for manual mode. Hear that shunk like going in. I love this. Hidden cup holders in here. They can deploy like little arms and expand, but they're still pretty narrow, just like a normal water bottle in here, but it's got this support down here. Drink's not gonna go sliding up weight. I don't know what happened there. Sliding about. That's what I meant to say. Down here, glove box. Decent size. Your manual's in there. Your second USB port. Both are USB-A's. This one and the one in the center console. It's a nice, again, a really nice solid sound. That does not sound dinky. You hear that? And that is a piece of aluminum covering the handle. Neato. I mentioned the microfiber suede covering the headliner, but I didn't show you the headroom. Tons of it. I'm 6 feet tall, and I've got a long torso. Headroom is always an issue for me, not in this car at all. And my seat isn't even, it can go 1 or 2 levels lower. Like, it's crazy. So you really have a great driving position, and you can strap on a helmet and go to the track and not have to worry about like craning your body into an awkward position. So cool. The rearview mirror is nothing special, just a regular plastic housing for that. Now there are the cabin lights, nothing special there. Your garage door opener settings there. Parking sensors on and off are up here. Sun visor is covered in a fake leather material. No light for the vanity. Oh, and it doesn't slide. So you've got all this glass, sun coming through, can't do anything about it. That's frustrating. But that blemish aside, this is a really well-built cabin with just enough luxury while still focusing on performance. Gets a thumbs up from me. But for the final thumbs up, we got to do our big bottle test. Is there a place in the 718 Cayman for our big bottle? It's super shallow. cord in there or not, that's not going to fit there. 2 door pockets to test. First one's a no. Second one is also a no. Not doing the glove box, and that means that the 718 Cayman GTS 4.0 fails the big bottle test. But does it fail the rev test? I don't think so. So we'll kick it to sport mode. Rev it out. Oh, nope, that's not a fail. Nope. And take it for a drive. All right, let's get this party started off right with launch control. So to do that, we have to go to Sport Plus on the drive mode dial. Then we tab the traction control button just briefly to put us in sport. Then all you got to do is hold your foot hard on the brake, give it full gas, launch control activated. Ooh! Zero drama, none, which is shocking for a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Granted, mid-engine, but come on. And that was not a perfectly level launch pad there. We were starting at a bit of a decline and then we went up to an incline. So I doubt we'll be able to mimic Car and Driver's 3.8 second 0 to 60 run in this vehicle, but still, that was seriously impressive. And now, let's take some corners. And listen to that 4-liter flat 6 engine as you take it up towards its 7,800 RPM red line. Oh, the brake pedal feel is fantastic. Immediate bite, just a firm pedal. Sport Plus keeping us in the right gear. Steering is so good. So much communication through the rack. Wow. That is a treat. Now we're going to flip it around. We can test our turning radius at the same time. All right, the road is clear. The turning radius is tight. And now I'm going to flip it over to manual and do the shifting myself. Oh my gosh. That soundtrack makes you want to rev it out every time. I could feel the torque vectoring system doing its job, braking the inner wheel, letting the car rotate, and then that limited slip differential, sending power to the outside wheel, just pushing you through the corner. And what a gearbox. The shifts are so dialed. And on your right, you'll see Brian Max in the brand new Aston Martin Vantage. He's reviewing that one. Was just in that car very recently. Which would I rather have on this road? This car, 100%. Less than 400 horsepower in this day and age doesn't sound like a ton, but when the car weighs 3,200 pounds and sounds this good, it's every bit what you need. Man, I missed the flat 6 in this. Zero delay, of course, because there are no turbochargers to deal with. That peak power and torque coming in right in the meat of the rev range. So we're dealing with 394 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, sent to just the rear wheels, as I said, which is why it's so impressive how hard it launches. We can credit this Porsche dual clutch system for that, because it can just take the punishment. I could do launches all day and it would just eat it up. And this dual clutch system, if you're gonna have an automatic, have a good automatic. Have a great automatic. What an engine, and just complemented so well by this chassis. The engine in the proper place, the vehicle able to shift its weight so readily in a corner, and then just give you all of the input all of the communication through this perfectly dialed electronic steering rack. This is what drivers' cars are made of. Fantastic noises, incredible feedback. Properly good brakes. And a great transmission. Though, admittedly, I would rather have the 6-speed manual just because I want even more engagement with the car. But as I said, if you can't have the 6-speed manual, which you can in this car, if you need, for whatever reason, you don't want to drive a manual on a daily basis, if you need the automatic, it doesn't get better than Porsche's PDK. Ferrari's dual clutch system is pretty awesome, but PDK is right there. The shifts are lightning fast. I mean, lightning fast. And I keep feeling like I need to shift earlier, but there's still more to it. I have another 800 RPM to go when I'm shifting at 7. Oh my goodness, what a car. What a driver's car. Now we're on an even tighter stretch of road where I can really put the nimble Cayman to the test. Listen to that engine. Gosh, it's so sweet. It moves left to right so quickly. It changes direction so fast. I can't get over it. And these bigger brakes on the GTS as opposed to the regular Cayman and Cayman S come into play. And oh my gosh, this steering rack. The weight is perfect. The resistance is perfect. And this chassis is just so dialed. Don't worry, there isn't utility work ahead, I looked. I feel like I'm conducting an orchestra. Porsche wrote it, but we're performing it. We are performing it. About how this car dices up a canyon road, I have no further questions. But now we do need to see how it is as a daily driver. So let's go back to auto mode, normal drive mode, which turned on the start-stop system immediately, and put on full traction control. Now the suspension is in its softest setting. The gearbox is gonna probably rip through those gears, getting me up to hot, yep, 6th gear already here. Yellow, 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 fine. 7th gear, 47 miles per hour. But how seamlessly did it get to that 7th gear right there is shocking to me, given how aggressive this dual clutch just was in a dynamic environment. That's amazing to me. And the engine is just quietly humming away back there because I don't have the exhaust button on. This is totally manageable. And this road has some undulations and bumps in it. And keeping in the context of it being a sports car through and through, this ride quality is totally respectable. If you're coming in looking for luxury car smoothness and to not feel any bumps, you're gonna be sorely disappointed. I'm doing this just to see. Yeah, so I mean, I feel that. Is it harsh? No, the edge is taken off with this adaptive suspension system. But it's, you know, it's firmer than your luxury car. This is still a 2-seater sports car. So if you come in with that expectation, the ride quality is pretty darn good. Now watch here, as I get up close, the start-stop system. Still rolling, and it killed the engine. I don't really mind all that much. I just For some reason, this engine being so good and sounding so good, I wouldn't want the start-stop system on all the time, so I'd probably turn that off. But the startup backup when you're moving again is not harsh at all. So credit to Porsche for that. And this is part of the reason, this and the fact that it'll get you up to 7th gear real quick. Part of the reason why this vehicle gets pretty decent fuel economy in 19 city, 24 highway, and 21 combined. So now, we see that it's a good daily driver. There's a tiny bit of wind noise here, a little more road noise than your luxury car, a little firmer ride than your luxury car, but the seats are comfortable, especially on my narrower body. Someone with a wider body, I don't know how they'd sort of spill over on these tighter bolsters, but the seats are very comfortable for me. The driving position is really relaxed, ergonomically just perfect. You can just set everything up just right for you. It daily drives very, very well. Competition now. $88,100-ish to start for the Cayman GTS 4.0 is going to be the most expensive of its little ring of competitors that come to mind. The BMW M2 CS could be cross-shopped. That's $84,500. It makes a little more power, 444 horsepower. 0 to 60 is dead even at 3.8 seconds. Top speed's a little lower than this. I didn't mention the Cayman GTS top speed is 180 miles per hour. So the BMW M2 CS at 174 is a little lower. And the fuel economy is less at 19 combined MPGe. Then we've got the Audi TT-RS. That one makes nearly the same power as this, 400 horsepower. It starts quite a bit less though, 73,500. The 0 to 60 is quicker because it's all-wheel drive, so 3.4 seconds to 60 for that one. I'm going to turn this off because it bothers me. And top speed 174 miles per hour, just like the M2 CS. Fuel economy is somehow better, even weighing more and having all-wheel drive, is 22 combined. Then we've got the new player in town, the Chevy C8 Corvette. The Z51 is the one I'm specifically thinking of as a rival to this, costing just about $66,000, so a good chunk less than this car, more than 20 grand less. And it makes the most power of the set, 495 horsepower. 0 to 60 is also the quickest according to Car and Driver at 2.8 seconds, and top speed is the highest at 184 miles per hour. On paper then, the Cayman GTS 4.0 can't hold a candle to something like the Corvette. It's just quicker, it's just faster top speed, and it's just way more affordable. However, if you are someone who really and truly appreciates the drive, if you understand the inherent benefits of a mid-engine layout and how this car negotiates corners and gives you that true enthusiast feedback, and the Corvette need not apply anymore, still offers a manual gearbox, not that we have that here, but still offers a manual gearbox, then you're gonna be willing to spend a little more. This car is tested $94,000, still under $100,000, and I would do without the navigation, and do without the PDK. So you're just saving yourself, get right back to the $88,000 starting figure. I think it's worth the money. I do. The ride is totally acceptable. The comforts are perfectly adequate for how you're going to use this car. And then it just obliterates corners and makes a great noise doing it. Let's go to individual, where I've set up Sport Plus for everything except the suspension. Listen to that. You have that at your disposal, not a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and you got the Cayman looks, which are really just timeless. I am a huge fan, and I say save up your pennies over the Corvette if you really appreciate the drive and get one of these. If it's like whatever to you, go get a Corvette, because that thing is a really stellar bargain. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.